Hello everybody, thank you for this opportunity to give a tribute to my friend and colleague Rafe Sagarin. I'm sorry I cannot be there in Tucson, but happy at least to give this short presentation about Rafe. First, let me say hello to Rebecca, Ella and Rosa. I will try to summarize in this brief presentation my biased perception of Rafe. I'm sure I will leave many things unsaid, but I'm sure I will also give some insights into Rafe's life that probably some people don't know so much. Rafe was a great naturalist. I think everybody knows that. He was a great ecologist, but also he was an amazing scientist in general. I think that his view, his big mind was able to cross many borders, many barriers in multiple disciplines. Certainly he was also an excellent speaker and leader in scientific meetings, and I think I will remember his personality very well for the rest of my life, and the way he was able to commit to give a message to a big audience. He was also a very committed father and husband, and probably you had already talked about this a lot, but I also had to say that personally he was really an amazing person and also a really kind person. So you probably wonder how a marine biologist and a forest ecologist got together, one from the US and one from Chile, and were able to write a book such as Observational Ecology. And I think it's not an easy answer. Probably it has to do with our personality, and as always, Ref said, we can blame that on the angry letters. I think we were both really good at writing angry letters. I will explain that in a little bit. So, Rafe Sagarin, besides being a marine biologist, he was interested in broader issues in society. He was interested in education, politics, and he was also in environmental sciences in general, but he was also interested in the way you could apply evolution and biology to bigger issues in society. But the way we got together was because of this letter that he wrote in reply to a paper that was published in 2007 in Frontiers in Ecology and the Environment. The paper says, in support, so the letter of reply says, in support of observational studies, and I quote him, the research community should consider a radically different direction for ecology, one that resurrects the goals of all naturalists and yet is fully grounded in contemporary ecological problems and facilitated by modern technology. This approach places observational science as ecology's driving force. When I saw this letter, I had also read the paper in question, and I said, oh, there's somebody out there thinking similar to the way I'm doing. And so I wrote a small letter to Rafe, to him, and he replied right away, inviting me to write something together. And it didn't take too long, and we started writing a paper for the same journal, Frontiers in Ecology and the Environment, about observational ecologies. It was called Observational Approaches in Ecology, Open New Ground in a Changing World. And in that piece, we lay the foundations of what will become the book. It says, ecology has entered into a dynamic period driven by both the urgency of large-scale ecological problems and startling new ecological findings that are being shared broadly beyond the scientific community. Both of the factors are well represented by observational approaches to ecology, which are re-emerging after a long period of difference to manipulative experimental approaches. Okay, so we had everything set out there for writing a book. So how we started to think about this idea of the book? We were trying to approach younger people, the younger generation of new ecologists, people that were probably doing their graduate programs, and they were on the point of writing, for example, a short summary of their dissertations, and that could be different chapters of a book. Of course, the publisher wasn't so interested in this idea because all the younger ecologists will not be renowned scientists. So they invite us to write this book. That was Island Press suggestion. And we quickly figured out that writing a book was a good idea, and we could also invite people to write small text boxes to give it, this book more audience, and also make it the message more important to a broader audience. So the book, as we joke with Rafe, it was supposed to be a revolution for Rafe, but it ended up to be an evolution for me. So I always trying to push Rafe and trying to ask him to say things in a more toned down way, no? Trying to, sometimes I was the person that was able to say the same message, but also maybe a more politically correct way. So I think in a way there was a good balance between Rafe and me, because we were able to come across with probably a very strong message, but also a message that could be heard by a bigger audience. That was the way I also got to meet Rafe family, and we were able in 2011, in February 2011, to visit Tucson and meet his great family, and we had really good memories of that, and I'm really happy that we were able to do that at that time. And I also, at that time of being in Tucson, we were able to really discuss ideas. Until that point, we had met only at ESA meetings, just for short 1 hour or so discussions. So at that time in Tucson, we were really able to go to the real details of each chapter. I remember a nice whiteboard that he had in his office, and where we put the ideas of, for example, education, policy, and we also include local indigenous knowledge and things like that. That probably were only words at the time, like ideas, but we were able to connect all those ideas with this largest message of observation and ecology. One interesting anecdote that I can say about Rafe and the book is the cover of the book. It took really a long time to come up with a cover that we were both comfortable about it. We had different diagrams, different pictures, and the publisher was going crazy with us, trying to show different models of a cover. But finally, we got this cover that we were really proud, and I think it kind of summarized the many topics. For example, it summarized this evolution, revolution in ecology, infinite time, past and future, everything all together with this background of a naturalist letter, and also with the idea of cladograms of evolution. So I think it's all these ideas together in the cover of the book that in some way represents what we came up with, the main message of our discussion. Of course, the book was written by the two of us, and like I said before, Rafe was a really good person in writing and making something very fluent about ideas. But I had to say it was a very good team effort. Of course, there are some ideas, and what I want to do now is to show you a few ideas that really, when I read them, I can hear Rafe saying those things, because he was so clear in his message, and I just want us to take a brief time to go through those. For example, I quote Rafe here. Thus, it is incumbent upon today's leaders and gatekeepers in ecology to re-examine the inherent assumptions and reflexive biases that we all develop through time. A good place to start is by counting to 10 every time we feel the urge to comment on a grant application or announce after a seminar. Correlation does not imply causation, or you can infer process from pattern, or sounds like a fishing expedition. I had to say that was his most favorite phrase. This pause for careful reconsideration might give us the opportunity to reflect more deeply upon the nature of the research itself. Then we can get to the questions that really matter in practical sense for the future of ecology. If you see, Rafe was always thinking about other people that had problems in ecology because they were also very audacious. They were also trying to cross borders. And if you are in a scientific community and you are regulated by really long-standing rules, there's a chance that you will not be successful. And I think Rafe was always thinking about those people, because probably for Rafe and me, we already were consolidated scientists at the time. But for other people, it was really difficult, and I think that's what we were worried most. The younger people that didn't have the opportunity to express their ideas. So what is Rafe legacy? And I think it's hard for me to say it. I don't think any one person can say the whole legacy of another person, especially when it's like Rafe, no? Such a amazing personality. But I think just to make it some humor here, I think Rafe was really good at drinking Coca-Cola. I have to say, probably he was also drinking Coca-Cola. He was also, every time we met, he was with a glass of Coca-Cola, and then he was always like in a rush, trying to get somewhere. He was always looking for a goal. Like I said, maybe it wasn't like a goal-oriented person. I think he was something like, he had in mind something bigger. He was an artist, as you can see with his printings. He tried to look serious from time to time, put it aside, tried to talk with business people, and I don't know, I didn't know that part of Rafe so much, but it's kind of interesting to see this picture with he's standing in a statue of Charles Darwin, trying to look serious, probably trying to be compared and measured to Darwin. More seriously, I think Rafe will be remembered for many things. I think definitely for me is his capacity of integrating knowledge across multiple disciplines, and also using concepts from one discipline into the other, bringing people together with bold ideas, with new ideas, innovation, I don't know, it's so many things. So I just want to quote another piece of the book just to in some way represent what Rafe had in mind. Science is often portrayed as an incremental process of building an edifice of knowledge, brick by brick. The problem is no longer how large we can make the building, but rather how quickly it can be made. And even where a building is really what we need to bring together the growing body of scientific understanding of the world. The foundation of ecology, the natural world and its networked relationship, is collapsing faster than the bricklayers can build an understanding of it. So in a sense, what this represents is the main concern that Rafe has, that we were in a rush to get knowledge to solve the big world problems, the global issues of society. We cannot wait for science to be building in small pieces. We really have to have a different approach. And I think that's probably his main legacy in science. Okay, so I have to say goodbye now. Thank you for this opportunity to give a tribute to Rafe. If I had to say a few words more in a personal ground, I think I will really miss Rafe's smile, his openness to solve problems, his enthusiasm, and his vision, and the ideas that we discussed. I think having the opportunity to discuss such bold, big ideas with somebody is not something that comes so often. But at the same time, I'm happy that we can continue with Rafe legacy. I think there's a lot to be done in education, in ecology, and in society in general with Rafe ideas. I think they were groundbreaking ideas, and I think we can do a lot more to make sure that people know how a big person Rafe was. So thank you, Rafe. It was such a great pleasure to write a book with you and write all the things, discuss the ideas, and I think we are still here working for that. Bye, guys.